Hello, my name is Lisa Bailey, and I work in the education section at the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve here in East Point, Florida. And today I'm behind our nature center along Apalachicola Bay to talk about an important natural community that's often overlooked and most definitely underappreciated. These uneven parallel rows of debris that are washed ashore by the tides are called wrack lines, or the wrack community. It's spelled W-R-A-C-K. The wrack consists mainly of dead organic material, mostly aquatic plants and driftwood, but on closer inspection you'll find all sorts of things: shells, seeds, animal remains, and unfortunately pieces of human garbage. There are some places, luckily Franklin County, Florida is not one of them, where they choose to remove this wrack material from the beach because they really see it as nothing more than a unsightly, stinky inconvenience for beachgoers. The problem is that this wrack community provides an important link between the land and the water. So by removing it, there will be some negative environmental consequences. So this pile of dead, decaying stuff on the beach is actually a really important food source and also a reservoir for water in an otherwise really hot, barren environment, just open sand. There are flies and beetles that feast on it from above, and then ants and sandhoppers that feed on it from below. Sandhoppers aren't insects. They're small crustaceans. There's some of them hopping around in that debris that live in burrows underneath the sand. All these tiny invertebrates that feed on this wrack line in turn are fed on by a host of shorebirds, plovers, sanderlings, and ruddy turnstones. By removing this wrack material, not only are you going to reduce the population of invertebrates found on the beach, but you're also going to reduce the amount of food available to the shorebirds. Ospreys use the wrack line, not for food though, since they're birds of prey, but rather to forage for bits of material in here that they can put inside their nest. As wrack line decomposes, it releases important nutrients into the sandy soil, acting like a fertilizer and promoting plant growth along the shorelines. Some of these nutrients even make their way back into the water, and they can sustain healthy fish populations. I've got just a small sample of just some of the things I found in just a section of the wrack line. We've got pine cones that would have had seeds, and a couple other seeds that came down from wetland plants in the river and washed into the bay and up onto the shore in the wrack line. We've got some bits of shell. Along here we're mostly going to see oyster shells. And then we've also got some egg casings that came from some snails that washed up in the wrack line. We've got some different type of crustaceans. We've got more barnacles on a piece of wood, parts from a blue crab. This is a little fiddler crab claw, and then this would have been the back end of a horseshoe crab. We've got evidence of other animals, feathers from birds of all different types, and then pieces of fish. We've got some vertebrae here, some other fish bones, and this would have been the spine from hardhead catfish. And then last but not least, unfortunately, the trash that washes up. So we've got bits of styrofoam, lots of different types of plastic, utensils, shopping bags, even looks like a piece of a fishing rod out here. So those are the type of things we don't like to see in the wrack line, but all these other natural objects and more can be found out here. Another benefit of leaving wrack lines on the beach is it helps trap sand as it's blown by the wind. As sand piles up, plants begin to grow, and more sand will accumulate. This will decrease the effects of erosion and even lead to dune formation along the beach shoreline. So now you know the importance of the wrack community in providing food, water, and shelter for a host of creatures, and enriching and protecting the shoreline. So maybe the next time you're out walking on the beach and you see a pile of this dead stuff, you'll look at it differently, not with disgust, but rather with wonder and appreciation. Thank you very much for joining me today, and happy beachcombing.